Hello everybody, this is Niklas and we are facing Magnus again in the Play Magnus app for the fifth time now at the age of 14. So this face already looks quite familiar. So let's see if we can advance this time. I'm getting white, so he plays the Sicilian. Alright, let's see what he has in mind today. And how about I play this move, h4. It was recommended to me by a friend, fellow grandmaster, and I was like, okay, let's try it out, even though I haven't really studied the theory. Maybe I should have done that before playing this move. But okay, let's just see how it goes. The point is, in many lines you push the pawns forward on the king side anyway, so why not start now? Play h4, even though I know it looks ridiculous, I know that, but it's interesting. And I think bishop e7 is an inaccuracy. I wish I knew why, but bishop e2 comes to mind to prepare g4. But then bishop e6, g4, d5. This is what I need to watch out for when white plays with bishop e6 and d5. I mean, this is his typical plan. But what if I go f3? f3, d5, g4. f3, bishop e6, g4, d5, g5. That looks possible. Or I could go bishop g5, another option. Or I could go bishop c4, but that doesn't look too attractive. Alright, let's go bishop e2. Seems to make the most sense. And he hasn't played bishop e6, so I'll go after his knight. Ooh, I like this. I very much like this. He has allowed me to push my pawn, and I'll push it even further. Goes back to e8. And now I'll go bishop e3, develop. Bishop e6, and now I could go knight d5. That looks tempting. Get my knight in, or I could further finish my development. Those are my two options. So knight d5 is kind of threatening bishop b6, at least that would be unpleasant. Also, it's kind of threatening knight to b6. Also quite interesting, So I'm tempted to play knight d5. What if I go queen d2? That also looks good. I mean, the position is just good for me. I've gotten g5 in, his knight is bad on e8. Okay, I'll go knight d5. f5. Okay. So he just ignores any kind of knight b6 idea or anything like that. Just plays f5. But okay, I'll just take this one. Bishop takes. But this position, I mean, it just looks horrible. Horrible for black. Okay, I need to watch out for bishop e4 maybe? Not really. I can just move my rook. So my first move that I'm looking at is queen d2. Of course, there are also moves like bishop b6 and knight b6, but not really sure how good they are. Knight b6 is interesting because I could follow up with queen d5 check, develop my queen with check. But then again, later we'll run into knight c7. So queen d2, bishop e4, he plays, okay. Like I said, I don't really care, I just go rook g1. And now he goes knight c7. So he's at least getting rid of this knight. Now I can't go bishop, I could go bishop b6. I could go bishop b6 and then bishop takes d5, bishop takes c7 and then take on d5 with check. That looks really nice. But I could also go bishop c4 here and actually keep my bishop in e3. And I'm more interested in doing that. And also there's the move knight b6. We shouldn't neglect that move. So those are my options. Bishop c4, I would expect him to play king h8. But then I could go bishop b6, which would be nice again. So let's do this. Okay, what's wrong with bishop b6? Then he needs to take on d5 with the bishop. And I would like him to do that. I would like him to take on d5 with the bishop. So let's go bishop b6. Yes, he does that. Now he plays queen c8. And now he threatens to take on d5 and follow with knight b4. So I need to be aware of this. One option would be to take the knight on c7. Another option would be to move my bishop. For example, to e4. But he might follow up with d5 then. That might be the only problem. Really the only problem in this position is my knight on b3. It's just out of the game as of right now. So if I can bring the knight into a game, I'm doing really well. Okay, maybe I should just take on c7 on castle. The bishop on d5 is quite a monster. It's quite a monster. But on the other hand, I don't want to give up my dark squared bishop necessarily. Alright, what other options do I have? Bishop c4. I don't like this d5 move. If he plays this d5 move, somehow my instincts are telling me I should stay away from that. So I could also go bishop h1. Bishop h1 maybe. Just go all the way back. Yeah, I like bishop h1. Because his queen is still going to be attached to the knight on c7. So what is he going to do? Knight e6 maybe then. So maybe I shouldn't go to h1 but to g2. And why is that? Because then after knight e6 I might have to move bishop h3. But bishop g2 also, it looks a little strange. And after bishop g2, knight e6, bishop h3, there might be the move knight takes g5. Bishop takes c8, knight f3 check. No, I think I'll take on c7. Okay. Takes back, that was expected. And now go castle. Rook f4 was also expected. Actually, that's not only threatening my pawn on h4, but also introducing the idea of knight to b4. Annoying. Annoying. If I play a3, he will just probably take on h4. I'm guessing, even though I might get some nice play then. With rook h1 along the h file. Yeah, that looks super dangerous. I don't think, well, can he take the pawn on h4? I mean, he's a computer, so you kind of expect it. But even a computer's greed has limits. But a3 does also the move knight d4. But okay, that doesn't bother me too much. And there's also a move rook a f8. Gotta be aware of that as well. There's another interesting option, which is to go f3 to prepare bishop e4 in some lines. But maybe you can play knight b4, let's say bishop e4 and then d5 again. This d5 move is scaring me. Yeah, that looks pretty strong. So f3 is out of the window. Alright, so let's see this line again. h5, knight b4. Now he's threatening the pawn on a2. Okay, which is not too important, let's be honest. And he's also threatening, which is more important, my beautiful bishop on d5. I mean, not really threatening, but threatening to exchange it at least. That is concerning. It is concerning to me. Difficult. Difficult. This rook f4 move, quite unpleasant. Alright, I'm returning to thinking about a3. And I'm trying to evaluate the position of the rook takes h4, rook h1. And there's some tactics going on. For example, then, after rook h1, if he goes back to f4, I think I can take on h7. King takes h7, queen d3 check, and mate him. It looks really good. Really, really good. Of course, can't really expect him to go for that. So what is to be expected? He can take on h1, I'll take back. And threaten something like queen or bishop e4 to go after h7 pawn. Okay, a3 or maybe just king b1. Or maybe just c3. But for c3, king b1 would also make a lot of sense, because in many variations I'm in check. The problem is it's not really stopping knight b4. However, I could just play a move like bishop e6 then. Yeah, king b1. I think I like king b1 the most. Knight b4, okay. And now I just want to play bishop e6. Are there any problems with this move? Bishop e6. And I just want to go a3 or c3 next move. If he goes d5, I just go a3 still. Okay, what if he goes rook f8? That's maybe an important question. How do I defend the pawn on f2? Yeah, that's probably his idea. Bishop e6, rook f8. And my f2 pawn is attacked. Which forced me to make some awkward kind of move. Ah, no, I can play f3. f3 is not too awkward. Not too awkward. Because if he takes, I'll take the knight. So, okay, let's do this. f3, anything wrong with that? He can take on h4, but I'll play rook h1. Ah, and then he maybe wants to play rook f to f4. I see his plan. I see. Okay. So he wants to take on h4. But I can go bishop g4 maybe and lock that rook in. Very interesting. I just wish my knight wasn't that far away from the action. That's like a major problem. You know what would be cool? G6, rook takes f2, queen h6. That would be cool, wouldn't it? The problem is he'll mate me first. Queen takes c2. But actually a cool idea, I really like that. Can I implement that somehow? No, doesn't look like. I could also play knight c1 here. Or c4. Could play c4 too. Attacking knight on b4. But after knight c6 I still have the issue with my two pawns hanging on f2 and h4. And c4 has weakened the square on d4. But then I could play the g6 idea. Rook takes f2, queen h6. Well, unfortunately Magnus wouldn't fall for that. Yeah, after g6, simply h6, and no progress to be made. Knight c1 kind of makes sense. I need to bring the knight closer. He can't take on f2 because I can take on b4, and I cover b2. And if he takes on h4, I can push away the knight, play c3, knight goes back, and then play rook h1. And if he then plays rook ff4, I can play knight d3. So that seems like the best I can see right now, because after f3, rook takes h4, I don't really see a promising continuation. Yes, I can play bishop g4, but I have no means of attacking the rook. Okay, let's say rook takes h4, bishop g4. So f3, rook takes h4, bishop g4. His knight is hanging, so he move it back to c6. And yeah, the issue is what now? Well, I could play rook h1 now and trade the rooks. Actually, after bishop g4, he doesn't move the knight back, he plays rook f4. Threatening to take on g5. Nah, don't like any of this. So, knight c1. b5. b5. What is this? Why would you play this move? That's such an odd move. I don't see any purpose. I am completely clueless. b5. Completely clueless here. So my first thought will be to now play h5. Makes sense, huh? Because the pawn is attacked, he can still not take on f2. But actually this other move is, I'm seeing this other move. What if you play something like d5? Okay, but probably I don't mind. And also if I get h6 in, he really has to be careful about his king. So h5 looks pretty logical here. I mean, f3 I could play again. Now it's a different story with my knight being closer. But I could go a3, knight c6, knight d3, rook takes h4, rook h1, another option. I actually quite like this option. Go a3, he has to go knight c6, or rook d4. Is rook d4 an issue at all? I can just go queen e2. Yeah, he might play rook d4 followed by knight c6. Rook d4, queen e2, knight c6. And now what? Yeah, I don't like that. So I think I'll go h5 after all. Rook d4, nonetheless. Oh, I see. My pawn on g5 got loose. I see. I see. Okay. I understand. I need to go to e2. Well, I could also play queen c3. But there, I'll also have a couple hanging pawns in the end. Still, it is an alternative. Because of the queen e2, I'm losing a pawn. Rook takes d1. If I take with the rook, my g5 pawn is hanging. And if I take with the queen, the f2 pawn is hanging. But I think I still have great compensation there. I can play c3, goes back to c6. I can play knight d3, all comes with tempo. He actually, well, he can go to h2. No, I like that. Queen c3, he'll take on c3, take on d1, play knight c6. And then I also have two hanging pawns, g5 and f2, even though g5 is not really hanging because of rook takes d6, but struggling to defend the f2 pawn. So, queen e2. Yeah, take it. Take it. It's all yours. Okay, knight d3. Yeah. Rook goes back to f8. Okay. All my pieces are better than his pieces. Well, almost. Except for the rooks. The question is though, what can I do with kind of my positional advantage? If anything. What is his next move? Probably something like queen b6 to get his queen into a better spot. And if I play h6, he's going to play g6. If I play g6, he's going to play h6. That's just what it is. I still kind of want to get my queen to h6 idea in. I could play queen c1 with the idea of g6. But it's not even threatening that much. It's just threatening a perpetual. So let's say queen c1, queen b6, g6, h6, queen takes h6, g takes, g7 check, king h7. And now bishop f5 check. Can't take because of g8 queen mate. So king g8. But I don't have anything better than going bishop e6 again. And we repeat moves. So that's not really what I want. Had enough draws against this guy already. What else can I do? Bishop d5? Queen b6. What is my next move? Another plan would be to go g6, h6, bishop f7. To have my bishop on f7. That looks actually kind of looks nice. Kind of looks nice to block the f file that way. Another move would be rook f1. How do I feel about rook f1? Is the rook trade helping me? Not sure. No, I like this g6 better. And bishop f7. Queen to c8. What is this all about? You know what's on my mind, right? I want to go queen d2, queen takes h6 again. As always, but nah. Queen f3 seems very logical right now. Stopping queen f5 and having an eye on the knight on c6. I guess the only unclear question is, what if you place knight d8 then, going after my bishop on f7? And that might be the issue. Queen f3, knight d8, takes on f7 next move. And then tries to get my f-pawn. Yeah. I could play queen g4 and try my luck in the endgame. It's actually a viable option because he's playing down a king, pretty much. He is actually playing down a king. That is really an important point. The problem is, after queen g4 he can take, play knight d8, and then bishop d5, rook f5. Going after h5 pawn. I mean, that's not the end of the world, but I'd rather not give up the pawn. Okay, his next move's queen f5. If I go rook f1, he might go queen h3. Then I could go rook f3. Because queen takes h5, I can play bishop d5. Hmm. Well, I could also play bishop d5 now. But then my last move kind of looked stupid. Maybe it was stupid. Yeah, I think I just gotta admit that my last move was kind of stupid. And play bishop d5. Because now I'm at least preventing his queen to be... I'm preventing his queen from becoming active. He's really tempting me here. I mean, I'm really considering rook takes g5. Really tempting. But maybe just not good, I don't know. But so tempting. So tempting. Rook takes g5, takes... What do I do then? h6? If g takes h6, I play queen h1, double attack h6 and c6. But even that is not really that clear. King g7, bishop takes c6, queen f5, bishop e4, queen f1 check, goes into the endgame and has the h and g pawn connected. Yeah, probably I should refrain from that. But it is in the air, my friends. Another move is a4. Very kind of typical move. Another move would be to go rook f1. Well, his idea is, I guess, to go knight e7 next. So after a4, knight e7, I could go back to f7, of course. But maybe I'd rather go rook f1 here. Rook f1 or a4, those are my two main options here. a4, knight e7, bishop f7. But then he might start bothering me with e4 and stuff like that. Okay, I feel like rook f1. Takes. Bishop f6. Okay, very solid, very solid. But he's playing without his king. I don't know if he has realized that yet. So I like this position. I like it a lot. Even though I'm down a pawn. Still like this position a lot. Did I mention it already? Did I like the position? Not sure. Queen f3 makes sense. He goes knight e7. And then I can maybe go bishop b7. Probably just bishop f7 is stronger to keep his queen tight on the 8th rank. But probably is gonna go queen c6 then. After bishop f7. Okay, what if I just allow him to take on d5? Maybe go knight b4. But knight b4 probably plays a5. I could imagine him do that. Maybe I should just go bishop f7 and not be afraid of the endgame. As long as I can keep his king out, I should have very good chances, obviously. Yeah, I'll just go bishop f7. You're not gonna get my bishop. He doesn't play in the queen c6. a5. Okay. Now knight f2. Looks pretty good. Knight f2 with the idea to go to e4. And that's a strong... or g4. That could be a strong idea. Bishop g5. So what now after knight e4? Let's find out. Knight f5. This all looks very, very sketchy for him. Let's be real. Very, very sketchy. Looks like he's walking on the edge of disaster. But as of right now, I can't figure it out. Queen g4 makes a lot of sense to pin the knight and attack the bishop on g5. I could also play knight takes g5 first and then play queen g4. And I'm going to win this pawn on g5. Yeah, it looks really tempting. Win back the pawn, still keep my bishop. Looks pretty good, honestly. So, let's do this. Okay, so he just leaves his knight on prise, claiming that queen e4 is a perpetual. Probably we should believe him. It's a computer, after all. Yeah, it is a perpetual. Queen e4, king c1, queen e1, king c2, queen e2, and if I play king b3, he plays queen d1 and checkmates me on a4. Still, good check. But that means I could go... No, I shouldn't go a4. Then he plays queen e4 nonetheless. But I can go a3. a3. But then he might go queen e4 check. But after queen e4 check, I can go king a1. If I go king a2, he might play d5, cutting off the long diagonal for my bishop. But yeah, after king a1, if he plays d5, I can just take on e7. a3 looks good. I mean, I'm sure there are other moves, but a3 looks good. Ah, go passive, huh? Go passive. Making progress here. Okay. I don't want him to even have this option of trading the queens. So I'll move my king. King a2. Or king a1. And then, I mean, my plan is going to be play h6, you know? Why not? Okay, king a2 makes sense. Queen c7, he's some waiting move. He's like, can't do anything anymore. That's what I like to see, my friend. Now I'm gonna get you. Now I'm gonna get you! Okay, I said that many times before. So let's not count the bacon before, you know what I mean. Okay, h6. But then d5. Maybe he wants to try something there with d5. And then queen c4 check. So d5 is kind of his threat. So what if I go queen to g2? Threatening queen to a8. He might play queen c6 then. Okay, what is my alternative? If I go h6, he goes d5. What now? Maybe I could just go king a1 then. And if he goes queen c4, I go queen takes e5. We have the quiet option or the more aggressive option. Well, you know me. I like to play aggressive. Oh, knight g8. Didn't see that move coming. I want to say once in the video that I want to have one video where I'm not saying, oh, I missed that, but now I just said it again. Too bad. So this seems to be like a really cool trick here. If I take on g8, he plays g takes h6. This guy's really a trickster. G takes h6 and just take the bishop the next move. Huh. Funny. Otherwise, of course, bishop takes g8 would be just winning, as I would get the pawn to h7. Okay, what if I play queen g2 now? This almost feels study-like, right? Queen g2? I like queen g2, I mean. But maybe it's not doing too much. But still a cool move. Actually, it is doing something. Well, he'll play queen b8 or something like that. And then if I take on g8, he takes with the queen with check. Very unfortunate. The pawn was queen g2, knight takes h6, fails to queen a8. We got him on the ropes here. Come on. Can't believe this stuff. It's like last game. So close, but still not done yet. Not done yet. Okay. I'll play queen g2. Queen b8 as expected. So if I take on g7, that really doesn't get me anywhere, unfortunately. But I feel like he can take on h6 if he wants to. Because then, he can, I don't know. Or should I go h7? Of course, h7 also looks very tempting. h7, just trade queens somehow and win. As he'll play without a king. Okay, let's go for it. And now, yeah, I mean this must be the best way to play. Just play queen c6 now. Activate queen as much as possible. Knight h5. Where's this knight heading? To f4? No, I could trade the queens actually already. Actually, another plan would be to somehow get my queen to g8. Bishop b3, queen d5. But he can always just cover with knight f6, so it's not that big of a deal. But queen e8 now. Should be winning. But I'm in no rush. I could also just improve my position first, play king b1, and so forth. Play king c2. Yeah, no rush. We got time. As long as I don't stalemate him, it's all good. Okay, a4. Okay. Knight h5. I think now it's time to trade. Or do I want to go even further with my king? King d3. But then after knight f6 I can't trade anymore. So queen e8 takes, knight f4. Knight f4, king e3, d5. But I can maybe just take on b5. Knight takes g6, bishop takes a4. And he can't take on h7 because of bishop c2 and I win the pawn endgame. Which gotta be bad news for him. But this seems still too much work. I want to have it simpler. Can I have it simpler? Queen e8 takes, knight f4, king e3, d5, stopping me from going king e4. Okay, let's go for it. Knight f8, and I go bishop c2. g5, and I'm inclined to just push my pawn. Or even go bishop e4. Feel like the king with my bishop. Okay. Now I go a4, or b4. b4 he might play knight b6. So a4. Okay, my a4 pawn is hanging in my bishop. So if bishop c6 or bishop c2. The question is if I want to keep the h7 pawn or not. Bishop c6 looks more forceful somehow. Bishop c2, I don't see anything wrong with that either. Follow my instincts here. Knight b3 check. Okay. Alright, well, I'll just play a6, a7. Okay, there's one last trick I need to avoid. Well, not really. a6, a7, a8 queen, takes. Okay. Alright. We got it, boys. We got it. That took a while, I know guys, but we finally managed to beat Magnus at the age of 14. And I think it was a pretty decent game. Positional squeeze. I mean, a pawn sacrifice wasn't planned, but it worked out beautifully in my bishop. I'm glad I kept that bishop. I'm really glad I kept that bishop. Alright, so we advance to age 15 next week, and I hope to see you there. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's a good chance to see when I publish videos like this one and others. So hit that subscribe button. Alright guys, see you next time. Bye bye.